hours. That's how long this game has to impress me enough to keep playing. Otherwise, it gets refunded through Steam's 2-hour refund policy. So let's see if it has what it takes to pass the test. This is the Steam Refund Review.
Please don't do this. Please.
The Last of Us Part 1 is a story-heavy survival-type game that was originally released for PlayStation 4. In 2023, it was released for Steam for millions of PC gamers to enjoy, and obviously, since this is the Steam Refund Review, I played the game on Steam. The Steam description for the game reads, "Discover the award-winning game that inspired the critically acclaimed television show. Guide Joel and Ellie through a post-apocalyptic America and encounter unforgettable allies and enemies in The Last of Us." Personally, I'm a huge sucker for story-heavy games as well as post-apocalyptic settings, so I'm really excited to play this one for the first time as I've heard its story is phenomenal. Now, the game is critically acclaimed, but on Steam, the game only has 78% mostly positive ratings. I'm assuming these low ratings are attributed to an initially poor PC port, but I'm not sure. So jumping into the game throws you into this extremely emotional, intense tutorial of sorts. I really enjoyed that what essentially served as a tutorial was a prologue to set the stage for the game as well. It was pretty clever, and I love how it taught me to play and set the groundwork for the story all in one right out the gate. And I gotta say, initially I was immediately gripped by this game's visuals and story. The prologue starts out 20 years before the actual story starts and sees the main character, Joel, finding himself waking up in the middle of the night to what is essentially the zombie apocalypse. And listen, I very rarely cry when it comes to video games, but this game literally achieved that feat within just its first 15 minutes. I really don't know how they did it, but the writers of this game were able to immediately get me emotionally invested. The gameplay reminded me of a mix between the Telltale's Walking Dead series and the Resident Evil series. It is very dialogue heavy, but all the dialogue is very engaging and captivating. Unlike the Telltale series though, there doesn't seem to be very much, if any, player choice. At least when it comes to dialogue options. The game is also very linear in its pathing as you go from one area to the next while fighting enemies, be they evil people or infected zombie-like creatures. There's a lot of stealth gameplay and quick-time events while in combat, but you also have the option to go in guns blazing with some third-person shooter action. Other than that, there seems to be some other minor systems like upgrading weapons and such, as evidenced by being able to pick up scrap. So yeah, the gameplay is more or less relatively simple, but let's talk about where this game truly shines. Alright, so going back, like I said, this game literally made me cry within the first 2 hours of playing. Actually, in the first 15 minutes. I know this is like a 6-plus-year-old game now, and there's even an HBO show adaptation, but I want to throw out a really quick spoiler warning here as I start to talk about the story here, just in case. So, to start, Joel and his daughter Sarah wake up in the middle of the zombie apocalypse, narrowly making it out of the chaos relatively unscathed, only to be confronted by the military upon reaching what was initially thought to be the safe area. The soldier then reluctantly opens fire onto Joel and Sarah. Luckily, the bullets miss Joel, but they hit his daughter, and she says some last words as she slowly bleeds out and Joel tries to comfort her.
Listen to me. I know this hurts, baby. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. All right, I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby. I know it hurts. Come on, baby. Please. I know, baby. I know. Sarah. Baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on. No. 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 Please.
After this heartbreaking scene, the game skips forward a good 20 years to show a much older Joel accustomed to this new life in the post-apocalyptic USA, in which there is essentially a constant martial law in operation. Joel finds himself caught between the government officials Fedra and the Resistance, the Fireflies, as he works as a smuggler to get things in and out of the quarantine zones. The story really kicks off when Joel is asked to take on a new type of job. The Fireflies ask him to smuggle a young girl out of the quarantine zone for some reason for a good price, and he reluctantly does so. This was about as far as I got into the story during my first 2 hours of gameplay. Joel and Ellie, the aforementioned young girl, make it outside the QZ, and my timer ended as I was navigating a skyscraper full of zombies. But yeah, if the first 2 hours are any indication of how good the story is, then consider me impressed. The game's graphics are also phenomenal. Everything looked stunning on my PC, and the character models, facial expressions, and detail were all great. At one point after I shot a baddie, I stared at the ground where he laid as I was mesmerized watching the blood accumulate outwardly from beneath him. I know it sounds weird, but that was the sort of detail that really wowed me. I don't think I heard too much of the music that this game has to offer in the first 2 hours of gameplay, but what I did hear of it was great. The zombies that had been infected for an extended amount of time became what are called clickers due to going blind. They used clicking sounds to locate things, and the sounds they made sent a shiver up my spine every time I heard them. Needless to say, the sound design and Foley work was amazing, and I couldn't find anything to complain about there. Really, I don't know if I could find anything to complain about in the whole first 2 hours of my playtime. Alright, so yeah, I mean, this game does seem to be a masterpiece, even based off just the first 2 hours of gameplay for me. I can't wait to see how else the story is going to grip me and what else will happen in Joel and Ellie's journey to wherever it is they're going. Despite the negative Steam reviews, the game ran great on my PC. Except I tried to stream this game while I played it, and for some reason it just did not do well even with my beefy PC and with the graphics toned down a little bit. But anyway, the gameplay was good, the story, graphics, and sound were sensational, and I have virtually no complaints about this game whatsoever as of right now. Now, this is a fully priced AAA game, and to no surprise is a full $60 on Steam. I was lucky to get it for $40 while on sale though. According to howlongtobeat.com, the game takes about 15 hours to beat and 24 hours to fully complete. And I would say this is well worth every penny, and even though I got it on sale, I wouldn't have felt any regret buying it for full price. To rate the game on a scale of 0 to 10 based on my first 2 hours of gameplay, I'd give this game a 10 out of 10. It really is truly amazing so far. So, will I replay it or will I refund it? I think it's obvious that I will be replaying this one. I really can't wait to see what happens next in this masterpiece of a game. So what do you think? Do you also enjoy this one as much as I did? What do you want to see me review next? Let me know down in the comments. Drop a like and a sub if you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see y'all later.